The utter train wreck known as the Acolyte started off terrible, and oh baby, it just keeps getting worse, because most of us, I think, suspected earlier on in the show that they were going to make the Jedi the bad guys, and well, episode 7 confirms that our suspicions were very much true. Episode 6 ended with Master Soul telling May, who's been neutralized on board his starship, that he has something he wants to tell her, and then the credits roll. And episode 7 is that something that Soul wants to tell May, and it's all told in flashback. It's basically episode 3, but told from the point of view of the Jedi. So the episode opens with the Jedi on the planet Brendok gathering these, I think, flora samples from the planet, because they suspect that this formerly lifeless planet now having life is the result of something called the Vergence. The Vergence apparently is this really strong concentration of force energy, and at one point in the episode when Master Soul sees May and Osha for the first time and sees their abilities, he suspects that they are proof of the Vergence. And because of this, the Jedi want to recruit the twins, particularly Master Soul, who is concerned about the safety of these twins living in a coven of lesbian space witches, which, look, fair enough, but so does Torben. Torben's reason is really weird. He's basically homesick. He's sick of being on the planet Brendok, really wants to go back to Coruscant, and he thinks that if they recruit the twins and they're proof of the Vergence, well then their mission is accomplished and they can go home. It's a very strange reason. One of the biggest reasons that the Acolyte sucks harder than a Bangkok whore is because TV and film are visual mediums, which implies show me, don't tell me, but this show just insists on doing the latter with fuck all of the former. Like, why does Soul feel so protective of these twin girls from this alien culture who he doesn't even know? Why is Torben so impatient to get back to Coruscant? I don't know, maybe studying the fauna on this planet really is drudgery, but you don't ever see that in visual terms. Now, we all knew from the beginning that the Acolyte was going to be one of those pieces of entertainment, quote unquote, that wore its political leanings on its sleeve, and this episode is one of the more blatant. Like, you watch this episode and it is so clear that this was made by a cringe fringe leftist Hollywood weirdo. One of the scenes that really stood out to me as indicative of the kind of people who made this show is the scene where Master Soul accidentally kills Mother Anastasia. So what happens is that Master Soul and Torben, they sense that Osha's in danger, and then they go into the compound. Now, this is right after Osha has been locked in the room and May has set the fire, which apparently she did by accident, because after she sets the fire, when you look at the expression on the child actress's face, it's one of panic, like she didn't mean to set the fire. But when you look at the physical acting of her lighting that book on fire, which she then drops, and then that sets the fire, when she lights that book on fire, it looks very, very deliberate. So it's very poorly executed there. Anyway, Soul and Torben go into the witches' compound, where they're greeted by the witches, who are all armed with bows and arrows at the orders of May and Osha's other mom, the one that's basically a lame feminist version of Darth Maul. She doesn't want to give up Osha to the Jedi, even though Osha wants to be a Jedi. Soul asks the witches how the twins were created, but instead of getting an answer to that, lame lesbian Darth Maul takes an attack posture toward Torben, who then ignites his lightsaber, and then Mother Anastasia joins in by turning into this black mist. You know, God only knows what she's gonna do, and she looks threatening, and then Master Soul turns on his lightsaber, puts it into the mist, and then suddenly the black mist re-solidifies into Mother Anastasia, and Soul has stabbed her. And right before she dies, she tells Soul that they were going to let Osha go with the Jedi and fulfill her wishes. A fight then breaks out between the Jedi and the witches, and lame lesbian Darth Maul then disapparates into the same black mist that Anastasia did, only she doesn't re-solidify. Well, not there anyway. She rejoins her coven of lesbian space witches, who are together in a trance, and with their collective power, they have possessed Kalnaka, the Wookiee Jedi, and they use him to fight Soul and Torben. Okay, I gave that long-winded synopsis there just to illustrate that they're clearly trying to cast the Jedi as being the bad guys, and they're doing it in the most manipulative way. Like I said, lame lesbian Darth Maul took an attack posture toward a Jedi, got him to ignite his lightsaber. Mother Anastasia joined in by turning into the black mist, and she looks threatening. God knows what she's gonna do. Then Master Soul takes out his lightsaber and puts it into the black mist as just a desperate attempt at self-defense, because God knows what Mother Anastasia is going to do. But then suddenly he stabbed Mother Anastasia, and we're supposed to act like he fucked up? No, sorry, that's not how it works. Call me old-fashioned, but when you take an attack posture with somebody and you threaten them, you can damn well expect them to do the same to you and defend themselves. This scene alone indicates that this episode, and really the entire show for that matter, is created by professional victims, because the victim mentality has just infected all of Hollywood at this point. The other way that this episode clearly shows its creator's ideology is, surprise, surprise, the woman is the wisest. Carrie-Anne Moss's character, Master Endara, she's definitely the ranking Jedi of the group because of course she is, but she's actually very against bringing Osha into the Jedi Order because the Jedi Council says no to recruiting her for some reason that's not really explained, but she's constantly telling Master Soul off and chewing him out for trying to recruit Osha into the Order. And at one point during the final fight, when Kalnaka is possessed by the witches, it looks like he's about to kill Master Soul, but then of course Endara jumps into action and saves Soul like that girl boss character that we're not totally sick of seeing at this point. And of course she's the one that frees Kalnaka's mind from the grips of the lesbian space witches. And get this, when the lesbian space witches get banished from Kalnaka's mind, that is what causes them all to just drop dead at once. It's so stupid. Also, we find out in this episode that Master Soul effectively let May die. You know, they're on the two bridges and they're kind of rickety, and Master Soul's trying to hold up both of them with the Force, but it's too much. He can't hold on to both of them. And so he just decides to focus all of his Force power on Osha's bridge and lets May fall. But you know what? Fuck May. I don't like her. The Acolyte might not even be a thing if that character weren't around, so it's too bad she survived, really. She just sucks, and so do those lesbian space witches. I mean, I gave nary a fuck when they died. So even though this episode really tries its damnedest to cast the Jedi as the bad guys, anybody with any level of discernment will watch this episode and notice the manipulative sleight of hand that it uses to do this. Although to call this a sleight of hand is probably giving it too much credit because it's so obvious. I said these 4 words in one of my earlier Acolyte reviews. I can't remember exactly which one. Maybe it was episode 3, but anyway, these 4 words are appropriate to close out this review here. And those 4 words are, the Jedi are good.